Hi, welcome to another lesson on Python login register with PyQt5. In this lesson, we are going to design a form where users can log in, they can enter username and password, they can as well register if you don't have a username and password registered. You can register for a new one and then you'll be able to use an application. So how do we start? Things we are going to need for this lesson are the following. Number one, you are going to need Python installed on your system. You can go to python.org/downloads then you download the Python setup and install on your system. But if you don't want to use this particular one, this is 3.11.0, you can go ahead and look for other versions that is in place which you can download and install on your system. Once you have done this, when you install Python has what is called Python package index, pip. This pip, immediately you install Python and you add Python to path on your system, please don't forget this as you are installing. If you go to your command line, taking for instance, you type Python like this and you get something similar to this, telling you the Python version you are using and the release other license information. That means you have added Python to path. Now, once you do this, you'll be able to install things from Python package index. What's Python package index? It's a repository of projects that are built on Python, which you can use to enhance your application. You can use to build a very robust and complex application. They are tools. It is just like Node modules. For those of you who knows about Node. So now, the next thing for us is to look at some of the Node modules that we are going to need for this lesson. The first thing we are going to need is PyQt5. We have what is called Qt programming. Qt is a programming on its own, but we have Python that is using the Qt programming to create its own GUI applications. We have a lot of tools or packages that we can use to develop GUI in Python, but this time around we are looking at PyQt5. So for the PyQt5, we are not going to be using our hand to write the code to generate the UI. We are going to design a drag and drop. You design it using a drag and drop, and then we'll now code the implementation part. Just like as I open this application to you, this login page, we are going to design all this. We won't use our hand to write the code, but we will write the code to implement something that we get whatever they type here, whatever they enter here, and when they click on this login, it's going to go and save it into our database by logging in the person, check in the database whether the username and password exists in our database, and display another window. For the register will collect all this information from the user. When they click register, it's going to save it into the database so that whenever the person wants to log in, it will be able to log in into our application. Now let's start. So how do we start? The first thing we're going to do is to install the packages that are needed. After installing our Python, then we'll use the Python package index, which is pip, to install some packages. Some of the packages we are going to need is going to be called Python PyQt. We are going to need PyQt. So if you are going to install PyQt, you can do that by going to this PyQt file. You go to pypy.org/project/whatever package you are looking for. In this case, I'm looking for PyQt5. Alright, so it's coming up by showing me the PyQt5. After the PyQt5, we are going to need either PyQt5 tools or you need PyQt5 designer. What's the difference between these two? The tools is a complete set of tools that you need for your GUI in Python. It has the designer and some other things. But if you just need the designer only, you can download designer only. You just do what? Pip install PyQt5 designer. But let's see how to install PyQt5 tool on our system. If you go to your system, let me clear this. I've used this to install some things. I will clear this now. Then I will type pip install PyQt5. Once you do this, you can install it together with some other packages. If, let's say, for instance, I want to install PyQt designer, I can come here. See, this is it, PyQt designer. You can say space PyQt designer. That means I'm installing two packages. One is PyQt5, the second one is PyQt5 designer. But I know I should have all this on my system. How do you check whether you have a package or you don't have it? You type pip list. Pip list will list all the installed packages on your system. You can see, then I will look for that particular one that I am looking for, which is PyQt5. I have the PyQt5, I have it. By installing this, it will install some other things like these plugins, Qt5, and then PyQt5 zip. Then the tools, I have the tools already too, so I don't need to do another installation of that. If I do, it will say package already exists, and that's all. Alright, now let us go on with our designer. After we install the packages that are needed, we install the PyQt5 tools. PyQt5, this is it, pip install PyQt5. That's how we install it. So it's showing us this is the latest version, 5.15.7. Then we can now move on to our development. If you use PyQt5 tools, you may need to bring out the designer from a app data, which is a hidden folder on our system. So how do we get there on our system? We may need to look for IDLE. You search for it if you are using Windows 10. You right click and open folder file location. Then I'm going to click on this, right click on this and open file location again. Then here I'll see this lib. Then under this, look for sites packages. Under site packages, I should see my, under P, you should see my py. Okay, so this is PyQt5 tools. Now for the latest PyQt5 tools, we are going to see our tools under any of these of the following. Let me check under this, not here. I think I can get it through the one I save on my desktop. Let me check that. Okay, so here it is on my 16. It is inside go to the properties. It is inside user data. Okay, so this is it right here. Okay, site packages, then I'll see Qt5 applications. That's it. Okay, site packages. So under Qt5 applications, Qt, bin, then I see my designer and some other applications. But if you use the designer, if you just install the designer, you don't need to start looking for it in a long path like I did. Now you find this one very easy by just coming here and type designer, then it will come out. You click on it and open. All right, so now after installing and you open your Qt designer, you are going to have an interface that looks similar to what I am going to open now. Okay, this is it. We have different template forms. We have dialog with button bottom. Look at it. We have OK and cancel below the window. We have dialog with button right. The button will be at the right side of the window. We have dialog without button, and we have main window. So now if we go ahead and create using this main window, for instance, click on create. Now it has created the window. Now let us just quickly run ourselves through the menus. So here we have the toolbars, we have widget box, we have object inspector, property editor, resource browser, and others. All right, so now what's the function of each? Here is our main design. You can see this is our main design, the window. If you come here and go to form preview, then it opens. This is our window. See how it is going to look like when we design, when we are done with it. Okay, then here under this we have files, edit, form, just like where we have our create new project, open an existing project, save, and all that. Then here is the main point. We have what is called widget box. Under this widget box is where we see all the tools that are needed in our form, where whatever we want to design, we just drag from here to this place. Taking for instance, if I need a checkbox, I'll drag from here to here, then I get the checkbox. All right, so now we can use filter to search for whatever we are looking for. Let's say for instance, I'm looking for plain text. You can see plain text edit. So if you are looking for label, just type, it brings out that. So you can search, or if you like, you can look at the groups, the layout group, the spacers, the buttons, the item views, model based, item widgets, item based, containers, input widgets, something that you have to impute, something like we use to design our form inputs, then display widgets. So all these are grouped into whatever we want it to be grouped. Okay, now here we have object explorer. This object explorer is showing every object you have inside your window here. if I should drag something from here to that place, now let's say this push button here, then it comes into the Object Explorer. By doing so, our property editor will show all the properties of that particular object, where they like the object name, the text that it will display, the size, the position, the font, and every other thing that you need for that object. Okay, now let's start with our designs. How do we begin? The first thing we need to do is to reduce the size of this one. It's too big for me, so let me drag this one to one side, then scroll down here, scroll to the right, and pick this, drag it. So now you can see we have a reduced form. Okay, so since what we just need is a place where you enter username, here you enter password, then a button to submit. Then we'll have the labels that we use to label everything. Alright, now one beauty thing about PyQt is that it's using CSS to style. We are going to get to that. So how do we go about those things that we need? We need text edit. So let me come here, type edit here, then I found it. We have line edit. Okay, I think line edit is what we need because text edit is a bit bigger than line edit. So text edit looks like text area, though you can resize it to give you the same thing, but it's very good at something that looks like text area. So I'm going to delete that. I'm okay with this one, so I expand it a bit. So that is what we serve as our username. So I want it to fill the entire page. Now I need another one. I will press down Control key on my keyboard and drag, Control key and drag, then it creates another one. And if you look at it, you have line edit and line edit, so it has given them different object name. Then we need the button that will click here. So now I'm going to clear my search and bring in my button. Now there is something I want you to take note of. You will see some grid lines here. Is to give you consistent design. Taking for instance, look at the username text box. It's out of this line, while this one is on the line. So we may need to move this one a bit. One time, that's it. I use my arrow key on the keyboard, and I think there it is now in line with this one. So also my button should be on the line. So I'll do this for the button as well. Then my button is starting there, and then it will also end here for consistency. Then I will increase the size a bit, the height a bit, so that it will be obvious and looks the same as the two. Alright, now after doing this, we need to design our page. We don't want it to just be black and white. If you come here now, go to form preview, this is what our design look like. Alright, so but let's give it some styling with CSS. So what am I going to do? I want to style the window itself. I will right click on it, change style sheet. Now it opens the edit style sheet dialog box for us. If we don't want to right click and open, we can as well look at the, let me close this resource browser, we don't need it. Action editor, we don't need it. Signal and slot, we don't need it. So I only need this property editor. So right here we'll also see our style sheet if we want to go through this place. So if you scroll down, you can see style sheet. and then if you click here, you click on this, it opens the dialog again. Then if you are looking, if you don't want to start looking for a particular action here property, you can just come here and search. It will reduce what is displaying and show you only things that match what you have filtered, and then you'll be able to pick your property. Okay, so let's begin now. If I right click here, say change style sheet. Now here we have different things. You can add resource like a background image from another source on your system. You can add gradient color. You can add gradient color. If you want to add gradient color, you can add it to the page. Then you can as well add a color without a gradient, whether a color to the text. If you're adding color to this page, that means it's all the text on it. Background color of the page, alternate color, border top color, border right, border bottom, border left, grid line color, selection color, selection background, and all that. So then you can as well add font to entire text on the window. Since you are doing it on this window, that means all the text on it will have the style. But what we want to do is we want to add a background color. So I'll pick a color here and then come right here and add the color. See, it has written a background CSS styles. This is RGB method. So then you can see you have a valid style sheet. So if I should click on apply, at least for me to see what I have done, look at it. Then I'll click OK if I am okay with that. Now if I click Ctrl R to refer to preview, this is what I have. Okay, now if I want to now give this one, you can see I've highlighted the two together, their own style sheet. I can go ahead into this place and click on this. Then what do I want to do? I want to give them a background color of white, so that inside that place will be white. So here now, let me redo it, at least for me to see the preview before I click here, click OK. See, it is white. Then the same thing is supposed to go for this button, or probably you want to have another color for the button. So I'll come here, right click on the button, change style sheet, then add color. This time around, yes, button to background color. Let's say I want my button to look like this. I want it to look like this. That's for the background color. What about the text on it? The text on the button, that's color. I may try to allow it to be black as it is. Okay, as you can see, it has applied that. So if I click on apply, you can see I'm seeing this one immediately, because that's what I have done. Now the font for this button, can come here, say I want it to be bold, and I want to increase the size to be 16. If I click on OK, apply to see, you can see that, then OK. So it has applied all my styles to the login button. Now I need to change the text. I can click on it again, select change text, or if you don't want to use that method, you can come, if you click on it under property editor, you will see this is object name, which we are still going to change. I will change the object name to btn login. Object name is like you are giving it a variable name so that you can apply that in your code. Now we are looking for text. Look at it, text, push button, we want to change push button to something else. It's the same thing as change text that we have seen over there. Make it login. You can see that. Press enter, then I get it. That's it. Login. If you want to add icon, you can add icon to it, like, but that one is another lesson for another day. So you can add a lot of things to it right here. All right, now we have our login form. Control R to see it. Look at it now. This is how it is looking like. Okay, now let's say we want a placeholder. We don't want it to just be empty like this. Here I will search for placeholder. This is a placeholder text. Placeholder text will show what? Enter your username. Press enter. That's it. This one will show enter your password. Press enter. Now there are other things we can apply to this. Let me clear the placeholder here. We can apply bold, italics and all that. So if I come here under fonts, I can click on this. You can see. So we have applied it through CSS, yet we can also apply it through this place. So here, if I want it to be bolder and look for one, you can see we have more. See how it looks like. I don't like this. Or let me check the size. No, I don't like it. So I can look for, okay, I think I like this. You can see demi bold, bold italics, demi bold italics, bold 16. Okay, that's it. You can see now, so that whatever you are typing in there will be bold as you're seeing. If I press Ctrl R here, see, enter username. If I click here and see username is John, you can see I get the styles. That is how we design. Now after doing this, we are done with this one. The next thing we need to do is that, if you notice, Ctrl R, we need a logo here. So I will come right to this place and look for anything that has to do with icon. So window icon, this is it. I'll click on this drop down here and choose a file on my system. Choose a file on my system. Choose an image. Go to pictures. Saved images. No. Images. Okay. Let's say I want to use this, and that will be my icon. If I check now, you can see I get the icon. Alright, so that is how we add things into our page. We are done with the login. The next thing is for us to design register form. So I'm going to come here, new, another window, create. You can see I get that beside this, so you can create multiple windows inside the same project. So but what I have not done is I have not saved this one. So I'll go back to this one and save it. Save this first. Press Ctrl S here. Now where do I want to save this? I want to save it on my desktop. And create a folder, call it Python GUI login. Inside the folder is where I want to save this. So I want to save this as login. It's already a .ui file, so I'll save that so that you can see it has changed here from untitled to login UI. So this one too, I can start designing it. So the first thing I'm going to do is to reduce the size of this one as well. So the register may be somewhat longer than and bigger than that of login. So here, what are the things that I will need? I can do copy and paste right here. I can hold on all this. Say copy, come right here, paste. You can see that, and it will create a new interface for me, which I can now make use of. So I'm just leveraging on that to create my register. So to register, you enter your username, you enter your password, but those are not the only things you will enter. Password will be the last thing here. We can even do a confirm password. So here we're going to have username truly. I'll click down to the control key, move up. We're going to need this for maybe first name, be again, last name, email. Okay, so I'll highlight everything down here. I'll move them to the center of the page. So also this one, I move it. Let there be some basic spaces. Okay. Okay. Now I think I'm okay, but there's something remaining. Now we need to start changing things. This is register page. So what I'll do now is that I need something to show that this is a register page. So here I will first of all change this. From BTN login to BTN register. Change the text, right click, change text to register. Register. Then here I will have my username, first name rather. So this one will be, there's no text here, so let me see what can we change here. We don't need to change anything here except the placeholder text, which I'm going to search for here. See, enter first name. Press enter. Here enter last name. Enter username. Then enter password. Confirm password. Confirm password. Okay, now that we are done with this, if we don't want to use this method of placeholder, we can drag a label. Come here, drag label here, and say the label, this is first name, You can see we have the label, but I am not using label on this particular one. Now the background of this, if I come here, change style sheet, add color, background color. I will decide to change it a bit from what I have in my login so that they won't look the same, or I may try to be consistent with what I am doing by using the same color. That's it, and that's it. So this is my register. Now I need to save this one as well. Call it register.ui. Okay, now the last one that I'm going to do is the welcome page. After they log in, they register, then they should be able to go to the welcome page. So I'll create this. What I am going to do is, I may leave this one as big as it is, but the only thing I need here is that I need a label, a very big label that will be very wide. That's the styling is going to be very interesting. I want my text to show this. I want something spicy. Okay, let me pick this one. That is for the color. Now for the font, MSR Serif bold italics 35. Click OK. Apply. OK. I double click this and say welcome to our office front page. Okay, and that's it. You can see that the text is hidden. It's either we need to expand this a bit further, or we reduce the size of the text. See, it's too big. So I'm going to come here now, look for the property, or right click on change style sheet again. Now in the font we are using 35 points, so I may have to reduce it to 25 points. Click on apply and click OK. You can see that we have a well reduced page now. Welcome to our front page. So I will save this as welcome.ui. That's it. Okay, now we need to do one more thing. We've saved everything in their different file names, but we need to do something, changing of object names. This is very crucial to our code because it is this we are going to use in our coding to take the value of each object and make use of them. So now if I come here, if I right click this, I can say change object name. It is line edit. That's what it's showing here. So I'm going to change this one. This one is going to be username. So username on this login page. Click OK. You can see it has changed here too. So this one is going to be password. And then apart from being password, a password field shouldn't be, let me show us, shouldn't be something that they should be typing and show like this. It has to be secured. So I'll click on this and look for something like password. Do we have that? Yeah, we have, but I may need to check something. Echo mode is normal, so we come here and change the echo mode to be what? Password, and that's it. So once you change the echo mode to be password, if you come here now and type something, it is now a password field. Alright, then I know we have changed the name to be password, and then this one is already btn login. I can also change the text. So I will save this, then go to my register, do the same thing. Here is first name, change object name, first name, click OK, last name, username, so you have to be careful so that you won't have duplicate object names. So this should be username. It is password on this page. Why this is confirm password. C confirm pass. Okay, so then our register button is already named btn register and giving its own name. I think we are okay with this now. Then we can now go ahead and save all. Save all to save all the changes you have made on all the pages, and then we are done with our designing. But there is something I want to show us before we move on to implementing this. If you notice that all these things are saved as what? .ui, welcome.ui, login.ui, register.ui. Now if you go into the folder where we save this, we are going to get those files right there. Desktop, Python, GUI login. Where is that? Sorry. Okay, here it is. I've opened that. You can see we have all the files here. Now, if you open this file, you will notice that Python is writing, the Qt designer is writing it as an XML file. It's writing it as an XML. Let's see what we have there. You can see it is an XML. So this is not Python. The .ui is not Python. Now we need to convert it to Python. How do we convert to Python? There is a code you need to use, but before you use that code, you have to first of all open your command prompt and be inside this directory. So what I will do is I will come here, click on this and type cmd, press enter. It will open my command prompt and be in that folder, which means I can see all these folders through here. If I type dir, press enter, you can see I get them: login, UI, register, UI, welcome, UI. So let me clear that. Okay, now we want to convert it to Python. How do we convert a UI file to Python file? This is the syntax. You type PyUIC. PyUIC is one of the packages that got installed whenever you install PyQt. So PyUIC5 -x, meaning that it should be executable, then your file name. -o means output. They take O of output, and then whatever you want it to be .py, taken for instance. I am inside here and I have login.ui. I want it to be login.py. I will say PyUIC5-x, meaning it should be executable. It should do the implementation right inside the file, not like another file we call it. Then login.ui -o output login.py. That is, take PyUIC as an executable file, take login.ui and convert it, let it be outputted into what? Login.py. We press enter and that is done. Then we can see our Python file. So I will do the same thing for others. They will now go ahead and check our files. So here I will change register.ui to be register.py. Press enter, we get it. The last one, but not the least, is welcome. Then we have converted all our files to a py files. Now, if we open all these files, let's see login. I want to open it with ideally, or if I should just come here, right click, let me open it with ideally, because of those who may not have Visual Studio Code. So if I should come here, see a lot of code it has written for us. Wow, this is sweet. You can see it has written a lot of code for us, something we should have used our hand to write. And you can see those CSS that we're bringing in is showing them, and then we have it set. All right, so now we have it for login, for register. Let's check the register as well. I should come right here, edit with ideally. You can see the register too, we have it there. If you go to the welcome as well, we get the welcome code right there as well. Now that all these are working, if we come here and run this like this, you see it, you can see this is our login page. All right, now that we have designed our page, we now want to implement, because right now nothing will happen. If you click, say my username, my password, I click on this, there is no implementation. So we are the one that will now write the code to implement this. And how do we go about this? How do we write the code to implement it? I will know how to open it one after the other. Come here. I remember something now. On our login page, there is nowhere to call the sign up. So which means, though if you understand this very well, you might just do it right inside the code. But if you did not do that, if you don't want to do that, you can go ahead. That is why I've not closed the designer. Very good. Implement that and regenerate this login. How do we go about that? I need a label here. Let it be a button. A button. I can duplicate this. But I'm going to make it a very small button. Or, yeah, let's make it a small button that we will now change to register. Change this at first to create account. So we need to change some things here because this is too big. Go to the styling, the font size, reduce it to be 11 or 12. You can see I get it. Alright, create account. Then the name of the button shouldn't be button login to, so we need to change that one as well to be what? btn reg. So that when they click on it, it opens the create account button. Now that we have made changes to this login, I have saved that. Then I'll go back to my code where I'm generating it, the login, and I click it. It will automatically regenerate it. You don't need to delete one for another. Let's see now. If we right click and open, then we get our update. So since you have not done anything on it, you don't have to worry yourself about what happens if you forget something or you need to add something. Alright, that's it. Then let's now begin the implementation. What we want to do, we're going to start with what is on this login, that when they click on this button, let it show register button. That is because this login is going to be our first page. Then they can go to register, come back to login and then go to welcome page, or the login here and go to welcome page. So that is why it will be the first page we are going to work on. And how do we do that? Now, this is where many people have problem with opening one window with another. Now here I have the login page. I'm going to show you something right now. I have the login page. Then I have the register page. So I will put this one too beside this, the login beside it. Now I want you to see that they have the same class name. So therefore I'm going to change the class name to their individual operations. This is register. This should be UI register. So by changing it here, UI main window is what you have here. There's a place where the class is being initialized inside this. So here it is called UI main window. We also change it to register. It's at the end of the code, the last thing on the page. You can see that's the last thing on the page. So I have changed that to UI underscore register, and I have also changed the class to register here. So here too, this one will be login UI relogging. Then I go down there, also do the same thing, UI login. Not UI main window. So we have changed that. We save this. Let's check, are they still working? This is our register run module. Then we get it is still working despite the fact that we have changed that. If you go to our login to run module, then we get our login. Nothing has changed. Okay, now these are two Python files, register, login. When they click on create account, we want this login form to come up, the register form to come up so that they can register. How do we do that? There is a button right there. Let's look at the name of the button here. The name of the button is btn reg. So inside our login is where it is, btn reg, and this is it. You can see it started from here. Btn reg is equal to this self, is meaning that it's inside a class, a global variable. Widget push button is an object of push button. We set this geometric, that is the position of the button where it will stay on the form, and then we set the style sheet, and those are the things that are done here. So what do we now want to do? Inside this file we have two functions. Inside this class UI login, we have two functions. The first function is setup UI. The setup UI goes down to this place, and then we have another function, dev retranslate UI. But if you look at the UI setup, even the retranslate UI is still being called inside it, which means all our implementation will be done inside the setup UI function. So I'm going to come here and say when they click, let me put star here to start to show that this is where our implementation starts. btn reg self.btn reg dot click dot connect. That is, when they click on this button, connect to what? Connect to a function that we are going to create now, and that function we are going to call the function self dot show reg. So now, how do we create the function? We are creating it by ourselves. Say dev show reg is a self function. Remember, any function inside the class must have self. Then we don't have anything right here, it's just self. It's not taking any parameter, but what is going to happen inside it? What is going to happen inside it? If you look very well at the register page, at the end, at the bottom of the page right here, we have something they use to initialize the class of this register. And what is that? It is, they give this is a variable, an object variable. Say main window is equal to qt widgets.q main window. Now UI is an object of UI register class. Now that UI, the setup function inside it, this pass the window into it and then show the window. That's all. That's exactly what we are going to do here. When they click on this button, what should happen? It should go ahead and do this. I'm going to copy here the third line and copy it up to the fourth line. After that, I mean the second to the last line of that code. So I'll come here, paste that, and then change some things because I don't want it to be exactly like this one. And what are the things we are going to change? This one will change from main window to a global variable that will be a self dot in window. Yes, we are calling UI register, but this one will be self dot main window. We can give it any name we like. Main window and then self dot main window dot show. This is what will happen here. But this class is coming from this place, which means we need to import the class from this file. That's how we import modules from one. In Python we import modules. So what I'm now going to do is that, what's the name of this file? It is register.py. So I will now say from register, which means I'm referring to this file, import what? Import the class UI register, and that's it. So if we run this now, save, yes. Okay, so what's that? Oh, we're not supposed to put the parentheses here. It's just the name. Okay, let's do that again. Then it shows our login. When you now click on create account, then it shows our register form, which means we can now register and then start the login page. Now, if we want to store all this, we want to get all this value and store it into database. When they register, then we need to go on into this register. In our register, what is the name of the form inputs? We have username, we have last name, you can see we have first name and all that. So how do we do it? We need to get the text, the enter from that. So the same thing as we did in our login. We'll come here. This is the setup UI function. Look at it. So we'll come here and say, all right, self dot, what's the name of our button? btn register. Okay, we should have checked it inside our design. btn register dot clicked dot connect is collect a function where I'm going to call the function register. So it will be self dot user reg. Let me give it like that, user reg. Self dot user reg. So right here we come here and say define user reg, then it's a function that we have self because it's inside the class, and then we begin. Now the first thing we are going to do is that we have self.firstname. How do we get the text inside self.firstname? So what I will do is that I will say first name. I'm creating a variable is equal to the one inside here, self.firstname.text. How do I know it is the text I'm supposed to use? Let's go to the designer. This is what we are doing now. Enter first name. If you come here and look for text, this is the text. Anything I enter here will show over there now. If I say first name is John, look at it. It's showing as I'm typing. So which means if they type here, we use this dot text to get whatever they enter here. That's exactly what I'm doing now. So I get that text and put it inside another variable called first name. So I'm going to get every other ones like that too. So let me do copy and paste and then change those. So there is first name, there is last name. So let's create a variable last name as well. Get the text. Then which one again? Username. Username. Self.username, self.last name, self.first name. Okay. Then the password. You store it inside password. You know, we cannot say pass here. Pass is a keyword that is reserved in Python. So confirm password, we named it confirm pass. So confirm pass is also equal to confirm pass. Okay, so let's check if we were able to actually get all this. We need to troubleshoot that. So I will do print here. So I'll put the first name. So what I'm going to do is print first name, comma, last name, comma, username, comma, password, and then confirm password. So how do we check this? I will save this right here, and then there is a way you troubleshoot PyQt applications in Python. If you run it here and it opens, you'll do something wrong. It won't show you the code, it will just break. Taking for instance, if I should come right here now and say this one doesn't have save, or rather than creating a runtime error, let us create something like here. Let us print what doesn't available. Then put remove s of this first name and see. If I run it, it is running. If I enter things here, if I click on register, nothing happens. You won't see any error. It just breaks and then it will close like that. But if I should come to my command line, and then you can see it has stopped, and then call the register. I'll just type here register if I like, I put .py, sorry, .py, put .py. If you like, you start with Python, then register.py. But if you don't want to type Python, you can just do this. Now, if this is the method I am using to enter things, see, if I enter here, enter here, click on register, I get the error here. You can see it's showing the error in the command line. See, first name is not defined. That means I intentionally missed the S. So first, so if I save now and rerun the application right here, if I enter everything now, oh, I didn't change this one from password to confirm password. So if I click here, it shows everything I type. So that is how to troubleshoot in Python with PyQt 5. Alright, now we've gotten all the text. The next thing is to go ahead and save it into the database. So the database I'm going to use is SQLite. The reason why I'm using SQLite is because I want the database to create itself on the fly, and then the application will start running without setting up anything on our system. If you are using any other database, you have to set up that database at first before we can begin to use it. So in this case, I will create a database connection